So, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, or whatever time you're checking in on another episode of the weekly Solopreneurs Weekly Gup Shup. So, thank you once again for those of you who are watching this on YouTube. This is a new format for us. We're testing it out. You might already be able to see my guest or not. And for those of you who are listening, you certainly have no idea who I have on the show today. Like I promised you, I have, and I'm literally curating, finding people out there who are doing amazing work. And I have one such amazing person who's going to be joining us on the show shortly. So once again, thank you for tuning in. This is the Solopreneurs Weekly Gupshup. Um, been interesting to see how the community is growing, and we're just getting started. This is just the beginning of 2020. So on that note, I've got something special lined up for you. This is sort of listening in on some of the comments, and what we have today is the top 10 mistakes that solopreneurs make. So on that happy note, I'm going to now introduce my guest. Um, his name is Dhaval Badeshia, and I'm going to ask him in a moment to correct me if I got his surname wrong because I forgot to check in on whether I got it right or wrong. But here's a little bit about Dhaval. So Dhaval is an IT professional who's turned into a fitness professional. He's certified by the American Council on Exercise as a personal trainer and a precision nutrition certified nutrition coach. He's a certified yoga instructor as well, and he specializes in nutrition coaching. With over 5 years of coaching experience and 20 plus years of athletic training, he is now on a mission to transform 10,000 lives in 2020. So, on that happy note, I'm going to toss the mic at Dhaval, and he's going to jump right in. As you know before, this is like a very free-form way in which we're approaching this. So, over to you, Dhaval, and thank you for being on the show.
You're most welcome, Rahul. So this is a different experience because I'm sure you know I run a show on YouTube where
Uh
I
huh.
interview and call in Bangalore's best fitness trainers and coaches,
Uh
and
huh.
I want people to learn from them. And I'm used
Right.
to sitting on the other side where you're sitting right now, asking questions, and now you put me into the hot seat. You're going to ask me questions. So I'm not sure how this is going to pan out, but yeah, we'll give it a shot. So as
Awesome.
you said, this is free form. So I literally have no format as such. What I've given
Hmm.
you are the 10 topics. And what I would want to do is I would definitely, want to, shed some light on all of these. But you as a solopreneur, I'm also
Hmm.
one, as you know, and
Hmm.
we have
Hmm.
solopreneurs listening to this. I want you to ask
Absolutely.
questions so that
Absolutely.
any questions that you have, I want you to ask
Hmm.
questions. You ask questions, I answer them, and that's how we
Brilliant.
roll.
Brilliant. So, on that note, I'm going to jump into the first mistake that solopreneurs make, and that is in the space of exercise.
Yeah.
So, I know for a fact that you do work with a lot of people who come from different backgrounds, but maybe looking at especially the solopreneurs, and these could be in any field because, as you know, we work with solopreneurs across fields.
Mhm.
So, from your experience, what would be, let's say, maybe the top three mistakes that you notice within the space of exercise that you've seen solopreneurs make?
All right, sure. So the first one
Hmm.
is ignore it. All right, the biggest one. Right? You
Right,
can't get any bigger than that. The
right.
thing is, we as solopreneurs, the kind of work
Hmm.
that we do and the amount of responsibility that we share, we have so many things going on that
Mm.
this is the last thing which comes on our list. Right. So
Awesome.
that's the first one. And we're like,
Mm.
do I really have to do it? Do I need it? Do I
Mm.
not? But yeah, that's the number one. Ignore it, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
And
And mistake number two within exercise.
yeah, the mistake number two is once you realize, or
Mm.
maybe somehow you got to know that you got to do it, you do
Mm.
it the wrong way.
Mm.
Because what happens is we are exposed to so much of information right
Mm.
now, and the information is called data. And when I
Mm.
studied computers and when I started learning, I was told data is a verified and correct information. Data cannot be
Mm,
wrong. That's how the definition
mm,
was. But
mm.
as the life has gone by, I don't see that definition staying any true, because we have
Right.
corrupted data. We have
Correct.
data which is not the fact. So we've lost
Correct.
that definition. And when
Mm,
it comes to the mistakes, it's like we see and follow what we see on mainstream. We see what is there
mm,
on YouTube, what is there on social media and stuff. And
mm,
lot of them is not fact. Okay, it's
mm,
all picked up, or it's half baked truth. They
mm,
just picked up saying that 10 minutes to six packs abs. And
mm,
the thing is, if that was real, everybody would have had six
mm.
packs, right? All of
True.
us have 10 minutes for sure. Right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's the second one. So we get it
Mm,
wrong because the source that
mm,
we get it from is wrong.
mm. Got it. So it's basically you're saying the mistake number two would be the wrong source.
Yes. So learning from a wrong source or following
Mm,
a wrong source, right? We
mm,
just follow the media hype or everything which is
mm.
trending. Because you go on Google and search. Google is an
Mm.
awesome place to search, but
Sure.
Google gives answers of what you ask. It doesn't have,
Correct.
it doesn't know what you need. It just will answer what you ask, and what you ask
Mm,
is based on the trends because you read
mm,
something or you saw something,
mm.
and that's what Google is going to throw at you. So
Correct.
yeah, the place from which we get information, and you will see the flavor of IT coming into
Mm,
this, because I'm an IT guy turned into
mm.
a fitness pro. So yeah, the place where we get the information, that source itself is not
Yeah.
valid, and that's where it manifests into a lot of wrong things that we end up
So
doing.
essentially, following unverified sources, would you say that's the one, right?
Yes,
That's where people make a mistake.
absolutely.
Excellent. And what would be the third most common mistake, especially amongst solopreneurs when it comes to exercise?
Is actually not looking for a coach or a trainer or
Mm,
somebody to get help with, even
right.
if it's a group. Because
Right.
see, as solopreneurs, we go through this journey of learning through our business, everything that we have to do in
Mm,
business. And
mm,
you and me definitely
mm,
know about it, that we go and work with so many people, learn so many
mm,
things, how to do sales,
mm,
how to do marketing, how
mm,
to do this.
mm,
But when it comes to exercise, we're like, do I
mm.
really need to learn from somebody?
Correct.
Right?
Amazing.
And
Yeah.
that's the third one we end up doing, is we
Right.
don't
So
go
basically,
and
not asking for help, right? I mean, in
not
essence,
asking for help.
I don't want to ask for
Absolutely.
help. I mean, why should I ask for help?
Exactly. And that's where I think also that superhero that we have
mm,
S printed on our
mm,
chest as solopreneurs, the Superman
mm,
S comes into
mm,
picture because of ego. Like, should I go and ask for help for
mm,
exercise? Like,
mm,
is that something I need? But the
mm,
answer is absolutely yes. Why
mm,
not? Is
mm,
the answer is as simple
mm.
as why not? Just go for it,
Correct.
and you get
Correct.
help. Okay. And I'm glad that the time that we are talking right
Mm,
now,
mm,
we have
mm, mm.
people that even I know, a lot of people now in this
Correct.
field who are educated, who are
Mm,
trained, who are doing very well, and they're
mm,
ready to help. But it's just that we got to go
mm.
and search for the right people,
Right.
and you will
Right.
meet them.
Right.
So
Awesome.
yeah,
Great. So that in a way sort of puts things into perspective when it comes to exercise, right? Because if you don't have, or rather, if you follow this path, that's typically when exercise kind of becomes another thing to, oh, do I have to do it? You know, it becomes a pain, right? Because
exactly.
you're not really, making all the right moves. You're not really, thinking it through. And so why would you then want to do exercise, right?
Absolutely. And that's why we've been thrown this piece which says no pain,
Mm,
no gain. And
correct.
we take it in the literal terms, though it is a metaphorical thing,
Mm,
and it's
mm,
thrown to us as literal terms. But exercise has to be without pain, and it
correct.
can be done without pain if you
Correct.
know exactly how to do it.
Right.
So, and
Right.
it can be made fun. And I'll tell you, there
Mm,
are hundreds and thousands of ways to make it
mm,
fun. It does not
mm,
have to be a boring routine that you have to go through. You have
correct.
n number of ways of just
Correct.
making yourself move, and
Correct.
that's exercise for you, right?
Absolutely. I think you stressed on a very important point here that most people have this very myopic view of what is exercise, right? They assume it's only going to the gym or doing, let's say the treadmill. And if you don't like doing that, then somewhere it's like, okay, then it's not for me. Versus,
I
I mean, I like to use the model of, like one of our mentors talks about, basically mall shopping. So when it comes to exercise, you keep trying out different things that are out there, right? Because the good thing today is there are a lot of people, a lot of professionals who are doing different forms of exercise. So the idea being you
absolutely.
keep searching till you find one, and when it clicks, then it sort of becomes easy. So maybe for you it is running, maybe for somebody else it's swimming, maybe for somebody else it's, I was just watching somebody talk about like this, basically the pole dancing, but as a team building exercise, right? Because it is
Yeah.
a cardio exercise at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
So
so you put a very good point over here. See, if I talk about 5 years back or 10 years back, or even when
mm,
I started exercise, there was only one place to go and work out.
correct,
If it's a school
correct,
PT or it was an akhada, okay, there was no third
exactly,
option when I started.
true,
But now,
true,
if you look at it, you literally have a mall, or you can go window shopping, try out
yeah,
different things,
yeah,
and once you know what you enjoy, stick to
correct,
it. As
yeah,
simple as that. As far as you enjoy it, do it.
correct,
That's as easy as it
yeah.
can get.
I think it's while I've put the three mistakes there, I would probably put one antidote, which when with your years of experience, you've noticed this, that it works when you literally enjoy it,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it actually has much better effect
Mm,
if you enjoy it, because
mm,
mentally,
mm,
it, rather than releasing cortisol in your body,
mm.
it would
Correct.
release endorphins, which is
Nice.
a feel good factor. So
Yeah.
if you enjoy it, you're happy. When you come out of it, you're happy of
Correct.
the session. So that's exercise for you.
Nice. Nice. It's a good one. When you enjoy it, you release endorphins. It's a good one.
Absolutely.
So on that note, I'm going to now switch to mistake number two. Number two. So the number two mistake is, and for those of you who are listening while you're on your drive, on your commute, this is really, I can feel it's literally building up to a crescendo, but we're just getting started. So for those of you watching, you might already be able to see this on your screen, but you have no idea what's coming. So we're going to move now to, as I said, the mistake number two, and that is in the space of nutrition.
Yeah.
So what is the most common mistake that people make when it comes to nutrition, especially solopreneurs?
Again, the biggest thing is I can't eat healthy because I'm
Mm,
busy.
mm,
Okay.
mm-hmm,
And second thing is I can't eat healthy because I keep traveling.
mm.
I
That's a
can't
nice one.
prepare my own food. I keep
Correct.
traveling, so I can't eat healthy. Now, that is where the paradigm shift has to happen, because when it comes to nutrition, again,
Mm,
nutrition is one of the most misunderstood topics of health and fitness.
mm,
And I've
mm,
spent about last 2 years just learning that from best of the coaches and trainers. And
mm,
I
mm,
am actually working with Precision Nutrition as their partner, and I also
mm.
get coached by some of the best precision nutrition coaching. While I did
Right.
that, is because, first of all, nutrition as a science is complex,
Mm,
agreed and accepted. And
mm,
where people go wrong is, again, nutrition. If I say nutrition, people think diet.
mm,
As soon as I say nutrition, they said diet. And diet, not in terms of what we
mm,
eat, but diet in terms of I can't eat this. So it's like when somebody
mm,
comes and talks to me, first thing they're expecting is,
mm,
Dhaval, what are the things I should stop doing? Or what are the things I should stop eating? I'm like, why do you want
mm,
to stop? you know?
mm,
And
mm,
they're surprised with the approach that though
mm,
it is complex, there are bigger rocks that we can move, and it
mm.
can give us a better option, or better,
Interesting.
healthier results than
Mm,
just thinking of, should I go keto, should I go paleo, should I go intermittent fasting, should I go
mm,
this, should I go that. Now,
mm.
having those labels, and because
Correct.
somebody said keto worked for me, and keto,
Mm,
I use this word because keto is a chakra view. Okay. and I'm going to
Hmm.
use some mythology in this. And people
Okay.
who get into keto are the Abhimanyus. Okay, they think they're Arjun,
Right.
that they will get
Hmm.
into it, break it, and come out winners. But they're Abhimanyus. When they get into it, they know they're getting into it, but they
Right.
don't know how to break it and come out of it.
Right.
Okay, and
Interesting. Hmm.
yeah, it's because see, this is based on science, and
Hmm.
literally when it comes to nutrition, the fact or
Hmm.
the saying, the quote that we have is, "You are what you eat."
Correct.
Metaphorically, yes, but literally also it's true.
Hmm.
Remember, we all were like, there's 1.5, 2 kg babies when we were born,
Hmm.
and then we were gone into this full-fledged 60, 70, 80 kg adult.
Hmm.
How
Hmm.
did this was built? It was all
Hmm.
built on what we ate.
Right.
When we started eating, it started manifesting in our body in one
Hmm.
form or the other. So
Hmm.
you are what you eat. And
Hmm.
the thinking that there are so many rules, so many
Hmm.
regulations that I have to follow
Hmm.
is the biggest misconception out there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? Like,
Right.
there are many simpler, easier, normal ways of eating
Hmm.
than anything or any particular label, because people, in a way, I don't blame people
Sure.
like us who fall into this, because we want that connection, right? That
Hmm.
name to connect to, that okay, I follow
Ah, right.
keto,
The
I
swag,
follow
basically.
intermittent, the swag. Or
Right.
also because we've seen success stories of people who have
Correct.
followed it, but at the
Correct.
same time we haven't seen what happens to them after that,
Hmm.
right? Like,
Hmm.
once somebody gets into keto, do they
Hmm.
really know how to get out of it?
Hmm.
And even before you get into it,
Hmm.
do you know, will you be able to do it all your life?
Right.
If the answer is no, then
Hmm.
probably you don't want to get into it, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the way or the antidote is,
Hmm.
the simplest one is, eat mindfully. Okay,
Hmm.
think what is going in your body. And
Hmm.
again, this is agnostic to any kind of
Hmm.
diet or vegetarianism,
Hmm.
non-vegetarianism, veganism.
Hmm.
You can eat any of these, whatever
Hmm.
you know kind of follow, or you belong to whatever category. But
Hmm.
it's all about eating mindfully. When you start thinking about what you're eating,
Hmm.
a lot of things changes.
Got it. That's
However,
a
like,
really.
there is sorry, there is
Uh
lot
huh.
more to it. But then,
Hmm.
we can't really explain all these things, but the
No, I
simple way
like
of
the
doing
way
it
you
is,
approached it because you're basically simplifying it for people who are extremely busy, right?
absolutely.
And a lot of times the busyness is in the head and not the actual, because you know how it is when, especially when you're starting off, there's a lot that you want to accomplish, and so the brain is always literally preoccupied, right?
Yes,
There may not be actual work happening, especially in the space of anybody who's a solopreneur and they've not yet hit that the high circuit, right? So the brain
of
is constantly
course.
working, but
Yeah.
it's like not even talk to the hand. It's been there, done that, right? So I'm saying
Yeah.
the interesting thing is what you've done is you've simplified it, saying, and this is beautiful because this sort of links back to the previous, the previous podcast when I had interviewed Kartika, right? It
Hmm.
was all about mindfulness. So
Yep.
here, it's nice to see. It's interesting to see that there's a connect to the actual in the context of food that you eat. Just be aware of, okay, yeah, I am eating this, whether it's the sweet, whether it's the salt, whether it's the spice, whatever it is, but being aware that, yeah, I am eating this oily puri or whatever it is. And I've seen this personally that when you actually come from that space, there's something strange that happens on the inside. It's almost magical, right? That suddenly it's not about am I doing keto, am I doing IF. I mean, those are sure, those help,
Yep.
but this is like literally like you said, I can't eat healthy because I'm traveling. So on the other hand, I can eat mindfully wherever I am and no matter what I'm eating,
Exactly.
right?
So I travel.
Mm,
I eat outside. I have parties. I have birthdays. I have to eat cakes. I have to eat
right.
cookies. My mom
Yeah.
makes sweets every other day.
Right.
So there
Right.
is a number of options available, and I am not some saint Mahatma that okay, I can ignore
Right.
everything that is in front of me and just eat,
Correct.
a carrot, right? So
Correct.
I eat that, and this
Mm.
is what when I train people and people work with me personally, this is what I talk to. It's like it's not about what you don't want to do. Just think
Correct.
about what you want to do,
Want to
and
do.
when you start doing what you want to do, that don't want to automatically goes
Correct.
off. You don't have to
Correct.
think about what you have to neglect because it's already neglected.
Correct. 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 That's really beautifully put. Right? So on that, I think this has come at the perfect time, right? So it segues beautifully because eating mindfully, even if you just start from there, right? It is something which is, I mean, and I'm curious to see how you interpret the next mistake. This is mistake number three, which is the mistake of the skill set,
Hmm.
right? So um, how do you define it, or how do you kind of put it into this context?
Okay. So what I will do is we talked about exercise, we talked about nutrition, and on
Mm,
the mindfulness part, I would just add one more point, which is
mm,
a research and a fact is if you're
mm,
watching TV, watching mobile, or reading while you're eating, you end up
mm.
eating 30% more.
Wow.
Okay, it's as simple as
Mm,
that. So if that
mm.
makes you eat mindfully, then you know what eating mindfully, like simplest thing, just looking at what you're eating would just make sure
Right.
you eat 30% less, and you know
Wow.
what it would manifest into. Everything else can be taken care later, right?
Right.
So
Oh,
that is where I just wanted to add that
that's
stuff for
amazing.
nutrition.
Yeah.
And next, I'm going to talk about is sleep. I'll come to skill set
Mm.
next after
Okay.
that. So first, we'll talk
Okay.
about sleep
Uh-huh.
because this is first of all not even considered as part of health and fitness routine.
Mm, mm,
And so there is like exercise which people either hate it or like it.
mm,
It's more
mm,
or less in their circuit. Everybody talks about fitness, exercise.
mm.
Nutrition is where people are more confused. Now,
Correct.
sleep is the most ignored and neglected part of it.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
So let me tell you, doing exercise is not
mm,
helping you.
mm,
Now you're like, first you told me how to do exercise. Now you're saying
mm,
doing it. So simple way. When you do exercise, what happens? First, it starts from here. You're
mm,
activating your neural circuits. You're using your
mm,
brain and you're
mm,
using your motor skills to move your body. When you send a
mm,
signal to your body, your muscles will
mm,
start making a move, which means they start
mm,
using joints, your bones,
mm,
and in order to power this movement, they need nutrients. That nutrients
mm,
are supplied by blood, which is pumped by your heart, and they also need
mm,
oxygen, which is supplied from the lungs. Now, this
mm.
is the full circuit. Now,
Correct.
it's much more complex. I've simplified it as
Sure.
much as I
Sure.
can, but this is what kind of triggers. This is the engine which
Mm,
gets triggered as soon as you start the exercise. Now,
mm,
when you do this, there is
mm,
nothing constructive happening. You're using, and when you use
mm,
something,
mm,
you put upon wear and tear on that part,
mm.
which is your brain, your
Got it.
heart, your lungs, your muscles, your bones, your
Mm,
joints. Now, all you have done is create trauma. It's called micro
mm,
trauma. In literal terms, it is a
mm,
micro trauma that you're generating. Now, the
mm,
way your body reacts to it is one, by first identifying that there is a micro trauma
mm,
and there is a weakness. So what
mm,
does it do? It says go and heal this weakness. Now, in
mm,
order to heal, what you need raw material. That raw
mm,
material comes from the nutrition that you provided, right?
mm,
But if you are an engine, you are
mm,
driving your car, engine is on, can you repair
mm,
it? You can't.
mm,
Even though you have a piston, you want to change a piston, or even if
mm,
you want to do anything, very
mm.
little can be done if the engine is on. You got to switch off the engine in order to repair the engine. And
Right.
that's what happens in the sleep. If I have to keep it
Mm,
as simple as that, because when you
mm,
sleep, that's where
mm,
your body
mm,
is able to repair and recover.
mm,
Also, mental, emotional, physical, all repair work happens only when we go to sleep.
mm.
Okay, so it's
Awesome.
not talked
Mm,
about, and people say, a lot of people have this, especially solopreneurs.
Mm,
because we have so much to achieve in life. We're highly motivated individuals. We'll
mm,
sleep
mm,
when we are dead.
mm.
And if somebody who's listening, and if in a way I have a good news for you, if you don't sleep,
Mm.
you'll be dead soon.
You will be dead. Mm,
Because that's an antidote our body needs.
mm,
So sleep, one of the most useful and impactful thing that you can do for your health
mm,
and fitness.
mm.
Now, the reason I, though it is so important, and reason I wanted to talk about it at that level 3 is
Correct.
because until and unless you are exercising, until and
Mm,
unless you put time and effort into your nutrition, you
mm.
can't sleep well. Neither quality nor quantity of your sleep will be good if you don't
Mm,
get the first two things right, because it will disrupt your sleep.
mm,
That's why
mm.
first control to move. You decide whether you want to move or not. It could be walking, jogging, swimming, as you
Right.
said, thousands
Mm,
of options. You
mm,
can decide what you want to eat, right? But you
mm.
can't close your eyes and say, I want to sleep. You don't get
Right.
to bed or sleep like that. You can go to bed, but you can't
Mm,
sleep. And if you did
mm,
the first two things right,
mm.
this quality and quantity of your
Got it.
sleep improves, right?
Interesting.
And that's why it is one of the most important factor.
So you're looking
And
at this essentially as the trifecta, right? There's the exercise, there's the nutrition, and then the sleep. If you look at these three itself, which is why you bumped sleep up,
yep,
if you look at these three itself, that will give you a lot more power to drive your business, to really be able to be fresh every day and change whatever's happening on the inside. Would that be a fair?
absolutely, absolutely.
Mm,
So I call it as a trident, okay,
mm,
Trishul or a trident.
mm,
Like,
mm,
I love analogy, so a lot of things
mm,
come in. So these are trident. These are the three things, the
mm,
three different things that you can poke yourself with to improve your
mm,
productivity. Because when
mm,
you did all these three right, next day
mm.
morning when you wake up, the
Correct.
quality and quantity of work that you can get done is much
Correct.
better, rather than
Correct.
slogging for 16 hours with not getting work done. And we've seen that, right? We've seen times
Mm,
where we're literally sitting trying to do something, it doesn't happen.
correct.
But then when you're fresh, you're really energetic, it automatically
Mm,
starts building, your brain starts working, everything
got it.
gets better. So
So
it's
in
all about getting
your
productivity.
research, sorry, in your research, what have you found as a fitful, amount of sleep? Like, because again, there are like the what is it? They say the truth is out there, right?
Yeah.
So what from what you have researched, what have you found is like a good amount of sleep?
So I was actually going to come to that. So good that you asked that question, because that's the logical next step. Like, you
Correct.
told me you got to sleep, then how much should I
Correct. How
sleep?
much do I
So
sleep? Yeah.
first thing is, the quality matters first,
Mm,
then the quantity. So, and the quality will come in only if you get the first two things right.
mm,
And once you got it and you want to look at what should be the quantity, it's
mm.
ideally between 7 to 9 hours.
Got it.
Okay. Now it would depend upon individual genetics,
Mm,
climatic conditions, and lot of other
sure.
factors. But if you are
Correct.
able to get somewhere between these two, you kind
Mm,
of sorted.
mm, mm, mm. Okay. Interesting.
And
So
let me tell you one
essentially,
more thing.
yeah,
Sorry,
go
go ahead.
ahead. You know, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. If you want to lose weight,
Mm,
this is the super pill that you can take. Because if
mm,
you are trying to lose weight and doing the first two things right, and it's not working for you, if you're not sleeping for 7 to 9 hours,
mm,
try this and you will see the results in
mm.
2 to 3 weeks.
There's that phrase in English, right? Beauty sleep.
Absolutely.
In fact, in my in my learning journey, before when I was doing a lot of work in the space of mind and especially neuro linguistic programming, right?
Yep.
This is something that the co-founder of NLP, had mentioned this way before, Richard
Yeah.
Bandler, right? Where he talks
Yep.
about how the English language has always got all the solutions for us.
Yep.
Like the way when something's happening inside, there are already these phrases in English that have the answer in them.
Yep.
So when you say beauty sleep, if you go back in time to, I haven't done the research yet, but now you've kind of prompted me to do that. But if you go back in time, there will be a whole history of why did that term come up.
Yep.
In this case, if you're talking beauty sleep, or there are so many of these phrases in, when you say I'm feeling downright um, sad, or like there are these phrases that we use, like literally when your eyes go down to the right is when you're accessing your emotions,
Yep.
right? So I'm just saying it's interesting that you use it sort of like reminded me of my past, when I'm saying like literally sleep more will automatically help you look better, and you'll definitely
Absolutely.
feel better.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So
like
on, yeah, go for it.
what you
Go
rightly
ahead.
said about like not just English. If you look at
Mm,
any of the history, and I love history, stories, and
mm,
mythologies. You
mm,
take Greek mythology, or you take Indian
mm,
mythology, because we have
mm,
very uh, good access to it.
mm,
A lot of things that are told to us
mm,
are actually done and given there with research backed, and it's just that with the sands of time they've got
mm,
washed away, and we just
mm.
have those phrases to look good, and we watch that in the TV
Correct.
serials and stuff.
Correct.
But if you look back, like I studied yoga as well, with
Mm,
though I
mm,
studied personal training this,
mm,
and I can see lot of relevance in yoga. Has a part where we understand yoga psychology. There's psychology behind
mm.
yoga,
Correct.
and there is like how it evolved. And when you look at
Mm,
all these things, and then when you study it, like, this is what even the modern science is telling us, this is what
mm,
nutrition science is telling us, and it's like
mm.
so much of coherence that,
Correct.
like precision nutrition, when we teach people nutrition, we talk about eating slow and eating mindfully. Okay, this is
Got
one
it.
of the things that I literally ask people to practice.
Mm,
If you know yoga, then
mm,
in yoga, mindfulness is like the term that everybody talks about, right?
mm.
It's just about being aware of what you're doing while you're
Right.
doing it. So it's
Mm,
as simple as that. But then when
mm,
it comes to yoga and all, the picture that we have is so different now that people don't really relate to it. But then it
mm.
comes back with the science again, and then we package
Correct.
it and then say, oh, this is how it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's how it
Right.
is.
Right. Awesome. So I mean, now you've literally got my curiosity peaked, right? So if we've already talked about sleep at this stage, how do you define skill set?
Ah, so this is where the game gets interesting, right?
Mm,
So when we want to achieve something, if
mm,
it's a sales result or an impact or creating content or doing whatever,
mm,
what do we have? We have a goal in place, which we decide that,
mm.
okay, this is the goal that I'm chasing. And now in order
Correct.
to chase that goal, so what we have is a result goal, right? This is
Mm,
the result that
mm,
I'm looking for.
mm,
Like, for if you
mm,
look at what I spoke about, I want to change lives of 10,000 people in this
mm,
year. Now that's
mm,
a result. But
mm,
what is the process
mm.
which is going to drive that result?
Right.
It is, I got to take action.
Mm,
And that action is going to drive the result, because if I just keep closing my eyes every day and say Om Namah Shivaya 10,000 people, it's not going to happen, right? Even
mm,
Shiva cannot come down and help me if I don't take action.
mm,
But what I'm
mm,
doing, say, for maybe this is one of the ways people listening it are getting
mm.
impacted by the thing that I'm saying. So this is one of
Mm.
the actions that I've taken
Correct.
to reach that goal. Now, in order to
Right.
take action, you got to have skills. In order to
Mm,
take action on exercise, you got to have skills. And now
mm.
skills, what we think is it has to be very high end. It's not.
No.
Say, for
Mm,
example, you just have to tie your lace. That's a skill,
mm,
right? You
mm,
didn't know it
mm.
when you were in primary school. That's where you learned it, once you start
Correct.
having those shoes. So
Mm,
what we ignore as part of health and fitness is that we don't try to learn,
mm,
because we are thinking that that's not a skill that I have to develop. But
mm.
having said that, you need exercise or you get experts, guidance doing it, but at the same time, how long somebody will be with you? If you're
mm,
traveling, is your coach with you? No.
mm, mm,
Now, can you be as effective as when your coach is with you? No. But that doesn't mean you stop
mm,
doing things,
mm,
right? So you got to pick up skills. That's where skill set development is also a part of your health and fitness journey. You got to develop simple skills that, okay, I got to go and walk. Walking is a skill because you've learned it.
mm,
I got to go
mm,
and jog, or there are 5 or 7 exercises my trainer has asked me to do. I do those, and I have to develop skills in not in terms of becoming a trainer or training
correct.
somebody, but just to be
Mm,
able to do it myself. That I know if this is the name, this is how my arm goes, this is how my leg goes,
mm,
and that's about it. It doesn't have to be a very high end skill,
correct.
but skill set
Mm,
development, especially when it comes to preparing and planning, because most of the time
mm,
what we actually kind of don't have is time. And if you're
mm,
not planning and preparing yourself well,
mm,
organizing your time, you will not have time for exercise, nutrition, and sleep. These are the three
mm,
things, and one or all of these gets ignored because we have other
mm,
priorities. We have client meeting, we
mm,
have coaching calls, we have this, that,
mm,
all of these.
mm,
So that's where the planning skills comes into picture.
mm,
Planning is a skill.
mm,
Scheduling and having your Google Calendar updated with things is a skill. I didn't know it. I learned that skill.
mm,
So
mm,
as we go by, we got to develop these skills. Now, simple skill
mm,
is, say for example, I have to go and eat fruits and vegetables.
mm,
So if I go to a buffet restaurant, how do I
mm,
pick up fruits and vegetables which are of
right,
different colors? So that's simple skill.
correct.
It's not a rocket science.
Mm,
Or
mm,
I'm in Mumbai right now, and you know which hotel you're
mm,
going in. Can I get enough fruits and vegetables for me to eat today?
right.
If not,
Mm,
can I use Swiggy to order in? That's a skill, right? So you got to
right.
develop skill set
Mm,
which help to achieve your goals, and that will make
mm,
you stay in this game for a longer time. Otherwise, you always dependent
mm,
unless and until you know Dhaval tells you to do this, and how long will you listen to me?
mm,
One day you will get
mm,
tired of me and the Dhaval enough, let me do it on my own.
mm,
But then by the time if you've built those skills,
correct.
you're good. That's where skill set comes into picture.
Awesome. So we've talked, just to quickly recap, we've talked exercise, we've talked nutrition, sleep, and skill set. So
Yep.
as a solopreneur, as you're listening in to these uh, pearls of wisdom that Dhaval has been honing now for quite a while, both for himself, and he has a very interesting story, which we won't get to just yet. But it's not only for himself, but even what he has developed for his clients, who he coaches one on one, as well as in groups. We're now going to move into the next mistake, which is in the space of mindset. So we're going to wait a quick second because we seem to have some technical snag while he comes back. You'll probably hear that all coming to you now, Dhaval. This is the
I'm
flip
here.
side of
Can you hear me?
using Zoom. Yeah, right. The flip side of using Zoom is sometimes data can take its own sweet time to reach. But I was just quickly recapping for the group for you who's listening in,
Yep.
and now I'm just recapping to Dhaval, so he's also on track. He knows what we kind of where we kind of left off for a second. So we're now talking about mindset. So in the space of mindset, what is that mistake, or what are those mistakes that solopreneurs make?
Ah, this is gonna get better now. So the first thing is,
Mm,
now as we talked about exercise, there are two set of mindset with exercise. One,
mm-hmm,
people don't do it, right? we,
mm,
we know it's not for
mm,
me, or I don't need it.
mm,
And second is, if I do exercise, I can eat
mm,
anything.
mm,
So I'll talk about the first one. When people say
mm,
I don't need it, now
mm,
this is where the you can get absolutely wrong, because you
mm,
don't have to look big, fat, sorry,
Correct. Mm-hmm.
or unhealthy as humans
Mm-hmm.
are no second reason for you to not to move and
Mm.
exercise. Yep.
Okay, I'm just
So
gonna ask you to repeat
that's the
that last
first
part.
one.
So, okay, tech is doing its thing. So I'm gonna ask you to start again. You were basically talking
Mhm.
about one thing that people say, especially solopreneurs, is I don't need it.
Yep.
Yeah, which is like a belief that they have, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could just tell us a little bit about that, especially in the context of the exercise, the nutrition, and sleep. How what are some of the typical things that they say, especially as a solopreneur? What are some of the things that you hear them say?
Yeah. See, the biggest problem is not having a problem manifested, right? So the reason why they say
Mm,
I don't need it is because they haven't hit a snag. Now, right now, while we are doing it, you or me will not look for checking our cameras, our tech, our internet connection if we haven't
correct.
hit a snag that we hit right now,
Got
because
it.
we hit this
Mm,
and now we know there's something for us to do it. So
correct.
the problem, there was underlying problem already, probably we didn't have
Mm,
enough bandwidth, but
correct.
until and unless it manifested
Comes up.
into a
Got it.
problem, we didn't know it. That was the
Interesting.
way it is. So the way people think and people says I don't need it, or
Mm,
why do I need it, why do I have to take
mm,
care of my nutrition, sleep, or
mm,
exercise, because I have no
mm,
problems.
correct.
The Now let me tell you a fact. Now 50% of people who've come to me for coaching,
Mm,
and when I get their blood test done,
mm,
they come up with thyroid, high blood sugar, or cholesterol
mm,
levels which are higher,
mm,
and they are not aware of it.
mm,
So it's like, just because
interesting.
you don't know it, it doesn't mean it
Correct.
doesn't exist.
That's not
However,
there. True.
in behavioral economics, we have a term, all I
Mm,
know is what exists. But then
mm,
in literal terms, it still exists. It's just that we are not
correct.
aware of it, right?
True. 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 So
So that's the
that
first
was
one.
belief number one, which is I don't
Yep.
need it, is
Yep.
the belief that they have, and of course we know why they think that way.
Yep.
What is the second belief?
Yeah. Now the second one is, if
Mm,
I do exercise, and this is purely for the
mm,
exercise point of view, if I do
mm,
exercise, I can eat anything.
right.
And I have had people like they come to me and
Mm,
say, well, I just come and work out because I can eat anything.
mm.
And I have my eyes rolling up and like, okay, because I don't want to give too many unsolicited advice to people,
Correct.
but sooner or later when they realize, it's again not, my funda on nutrition is very, very
Mm,
simple. It's about being mindful and doing a lot of big things right, but it doesn't give us license to go and just freak out on anything, right?
mm,
It doesn't stop you from going and having good times with your friends and family,
right.
but at the same time it's not go and license to hit on binge on junk anytime you want.
Mm,
So
mm,
that's again a mindset, because it's like, I can do this because I've done this, right?
mm. Interesting. So
So that's the
what
second
would you
one.
so if the belief is that if I do exercise I can eat anything, uh, what is the underlying um, like say for example I don't need it because they haven't seen the problem yet, so they are able to think that way, right?
Yep.
The I if I do exercise I can eat anything. What from what you have understood, because you get to study these people almost on a daily basis, correct? Pretty much on a daily basis. What
Yep.
would you say is the underlying theme of that?
See, underlying theme is still one is an ignorance, because
Just
they
gonna ask.
really don't know what happens. As I
Mm,
told you, we talked about exercise. See,
mm,
exercise in a way is a destructive work. You're disturbing your
correct.
homeostasis in a
Mm,
scientific biological term.
mm,
And
mm,
in order to restore that, you need right
mm,
nutrition. So when you actually
mm,
create a trauma on your muscles, your bones and joint, you want to
mm,
repair them.
mm,
Now, if you were to build a house and you had two
mm,
choices, one to get a
mm,
cement which was from a company with an ISI mark on top of it, or
mm,
there was a guy who was selling a cement
mm,
which had no quality control over it.
mm, mm.
So which one would you buy?
Mm.
The
Obviously, the
one where,
first one, right? Yeah.
exactly, because you know
Uh,
it's going to give that structure a strength to
correct.
last
Mm.
long. And our
Mm.
body is the structure in which we got to live till we live,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And if we are building it up with
Mm.
healthy, nutritious food, then it's going to
Mm.
be, one, longevity, second, low
Mm.
maintenance. It's
Mm.
as simple as that.
Mm. Mm. Interesting, because I'm sort of passing what what you're saying, and I'm just sort of going one, at the deeper level. Essentially, it's sort of like linked to the first one, where they're not able to see what happens when they binge, even though they seem to have bought a insurance cover, which is I exercise,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yep.
So they actually haven't, I mean, I hadn't thought about this till, a moment ago, that they actually hadn't thought about the after effects of, they haven't seen the after effects. In the first one, it's a problem. This is more like the after effects of eating that excess fried food, or the hydrogenated fats, or whatever it is that they're consuming,
Yep.
because they believe, yeah, I'm young, and I work out like 5 days a week, right? I mean, we've all been there. I've been there, and this is again sort of like a
Yeah, all of
prevalent
us.
gym myth, that I work out, na. So I deserve to do these things, right?
Yep.
So what would you say is the antidote?
So the antidote is one, is okay. I'll tell you an example, because
Mm-hmm.
see, until you see good, you don't know what is
Mm,
bad.
mm,
So what has happened is, unfortunately, the kind of environment that we don't know what it feels
mm,
like to feel good, right? So if
mm,
you are eating junk food and you are feeling you don't see the change. See, just because you were
mm,
eating junk, you say, fine, feeling better. But you really
mm,
don't know there is a huge, huge potential for you to be, somewhere much beyond what you are by making simple
mm.
changes. And these are ridiculously simple, if I were to use term,
Correct.
right?
Mm,
So you remember, when we talked about the Netflix incident that I had, right? So I'm
mm,
not a TV
mm,
person, and let me,
mm,
let the audience also listen to. I'm not a TV person. I
mm,
don't watch TV much until unless there is cricket
mm,
match, which also
mm,
nowadays I ignore. So, but
mm,
there was this one weekend where, me and my wife, kid were not at home, and we were just watching TV. They started
mm,
this Netflix series, and
mm,
they're made to be addictive, right? So we
mm.
finished one
Correct.
episode, like, और एक देख लेते हैं
Yeah.
यार, and then
Correct.
second and third, and then we ended up finishing a whole series in a weekend. And
Mm,
Monday morning when I wake up, I was feeling like a piece of shit. Okay, it was just
mm,
2 days,
mm.
and
Correct.
I was like, what did I do? I was not sure. I like, what did I do?
Correct.
Did I work out too much, or did I go out
Mm,
somewhere? Why am I feeling so tired? Why am I low on energy?
mm,
But I had done nothing, and then I realized the only thing I had done was watch
mm,
TV. And then, like,
mm,
I don't do that, and now I
mm.
did that. Now this is again a skill set,
Nice.
tuning in and being mindful that this
Mm,
is what led me to being, what I am, or the way I am. So from that time on, we stopped watching series. Okay, we watch a movie so that in 2 or max 2.5 hour it gets over, and you're done with it,
Correct.
because, like, you're not
Mm,
tempted to, watch the next one. So
mm,
this is what happens. People have not got the taste of what it feels like to be on a better side,
mm.
and because you
Nice.
don't know it, you don't know how to go about it.
But that's an interesting one. It's sort of like an A/B testing thing, but in this context where, 'cause I do this now. Like, there are times when I know if I've not had enough protein, I know that I'm going to end up feeling hungry, and then it sort of throws me into this spiral of wanting to just eat junk
Yep.
to sort of satisfy the mind rather than the body, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Or on the days when I do have sugar, I know what happens to my body. So I like what you said, which is
Yep.
analyze the comparison is the antidote. So again, it's not trying to scare you into saying you must or must not eat sugar, but have the sugar and then assess to see what happens to your body after that. We resume.
Okay.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back.
We are back. At least the audio is back. Ah, here you go. And we're back.
Okay. Are we back?
Yeah. Yeah, we're back.
All right.
This is literally like rolling with it. So just to quickly recap
Yep.
that bit for those of you who kind of may have seen or heard a break. In essence, with mindset, there are certain beliefs. One of them is I don't need it. The other one is if I do exercise, I can eat anything. And for both of them, the antidote in essence is to analyze the comparison, which means what happens to you when you do have that sugar, or when you do binge, or when you do, follow through on something that you know is at the core of it not good for you, right? Analyze how your body is after that versus when you are consistently. We talk about streaks, isn't it? I
Yep.
went 21 days exercising every day, so that's a streak. So how was your body through it and after it versus on a day where, let's say, for like I've now been off my streak of exercising every day for about 5 days. So I know the difference, right? So there's a part of me that's constantly saying, no, get back to it, get back to it, get back to it. So even on a day that I don't, that for me, the mindfulness and the awareness itself is a win
Yep.
because I'm not doing this to sort of gain brownie points. It's just checking in with my mind what's happening.
Yep.
So on
Yep.
that note, we're gonna now switch tracks to the environment, which is our mistake number. I'm not going to tell you which one it is right now, but we are onto our the one of the top 10 mistakes that solopreneurs make, which is in the space of environment. So what do you mean by environment specifically?
All right. So again, before we go to environment, I'll tell you one more thing about the mindset
Mm,
is black or white, do it
right.
or not. So we talked about people either don't need it or
Ooh,
when they do it, they have this,
very
that
nice.
I can do anything with nutrition. So this
Mm,
happens especially with exercise and nutrition both. Is that for example, if I'm not able to do my workout, so for example,
mm,
I don't have access to gym today, which means I can't do anything. You
mm,
know, so either I
mm.
am on or I'm off. The binary
Got
way
it.
of looking at thing is 0 and 1.
Nice.
If I am not at home, which means
Right.
I don't get to eat what I'm eating daily, then
Mm,
I end up eating anything. Now,
mm.
this is where the bigger thing about mindset comes, which is continuum. So, continuum
Mm.
is thinking about what is
Nice.
little better and little worse. If I
Correct.
don't have 1 hour to exercise, do I have 30
Mm.
minutes? Do I have
Got it.
20 minutes? Do I have
Yeah.
10 minutes? It's
Yeah.
better than none, right?
Got it.
If I don't get like I eat bananas every day, I don't get
Mm.
banana. Do I get apple?
Mm.
So be it. It's better than not eating any fruit. So
Got
it's
it.
definitely better than having a MACD burger. So
Mm.
just thinking about what is little better, what is little worse,
Nice.
and choosing what is available based on your situation.
Mm.
That's where mindset comes into the picture.
Mm.
And that is where skill set
Mm.
also is important because skill set
Correct.
will help you make that choice.
Mm. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. I mean, these are actually invaluable because I still fight with this in my head because I haven't completely wrapped my head around it. This and I think it also goes back to perfection because you want to exercise for that 1 hour. You want
Yep.
somewhere in the head. It's I think part of also being the solopreneur that there's this tendency to want to do everything in zeros and ones,
Yep.
right? Versus you're talking literally going from what was it they said uh, from analog to digital, right? So
Exactly.
in neurolinguistic
Exactly.
programming is something called from going from analog to digital. So when you when you go to digital, that means you can still do 0.005, right? Versus looking at life as zero or one.
Yep.
right? The whole
Analog is
digital
any day
from,
better
yeah.
than going 0 and 1. So
Yeah.
that's why either you're on or you're off. But there is a
Mm,
better way. There is some
mm,
path in between which is not that
mm.
bad. No,
Correct. Correct. Love it.
it's the way
So we're
to
going to
go for.
now switch to the environment and give us a sense of, in your understanding, what are some of the things that you have noticed that, firstly, that solopreneurs make as a mistake when it comes to the environment.
So the environment consists of two things: the
Mm-hmm.
living things and the
Yeah.
non-living things. Okay, that are
Okay.
around us. The
Mm-hmm.
bigger problem that we as solopreneurs have is
Mm,
the the living things around us. Okay,
mm,
because everybody around us is so motivated, so pumped, and so workaholic, so
mm,
much into getting things done that
mm.
they're too much into work, and then they're too much into work hard, party harder,
Right.
and in that mode, this thing of exercise, health, nutrition kind of goes down the
Mm,
drain.
mm,
You
mm,
don't have enough people around you who are like you, who are investing
mm.
their time, their energy into their health and fitness.
Got it.
So that is where,
Interesting.
and as they say, your combination of five people that you
Correct.
are
Correct.
around, and we are
Mm,
around these kind of people, so we find it
mm,
very difficult to get out of this mold. And
mm,
that's where the first part of the environment comes into picture, because we are not surrounded by people who are into
mm.
health and fitness or very
Got it.
specific about their routines.
Interesting. Interesting. So what you're saying is, again, it's just amazing how it's coming back to. I mean, I'm going to go back to this and call it the antidote, but in essence, this is the antidote, isn't it? Which is be aware of who you have around you. Yep, you're back.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was just recapping for you.
Yep.
This is one of those days. Uh, so the antidote, essentially, like you're saying, is it's a different way of saying mindfulness. Basically, you're aware of who is in your social group, and if you have, let's say, the majority of people who are partial to unhealthy uh, habits, then that makes your ability to be able to follow through on these difficult,
Absolutely.
right?
So, as you say, one is aware, and second
Mm,
is also actively surrounding yourself with people like
mm,
this. And now, when I say
right.
actively surrounding, we love technology, and we live in an age of
Mm,
technology. There are social groups. We
right.
spend n number of hours on social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, and all these
Mm,
places. And
mm, mm, mm. Can you hear me? You're back?
Yes, I am.
Yes. This is the true test of a solopreneur. You just keep plugging on.
Show
So,
must go on no
show
matter
must
what.
go on, right? So, just to recap again what you said about the antidote. Basically, one is be aware of who is in your social group, and the other, like you very rightly said, is actively surround yourself on social media with the kind of people that you want to be and have more of.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. So, now we're moving to a really, really important part, and this is one of the
So,
mistakes that.
sorry, before we
Go
go
ahead.
there, so this is
Yeah.
just the living part of
Uh
the
huh.
environment.
Uh
There
huh.
is a bigger part which is a non-living part as well, because environment
Okay.
is a lot more about non-living things
Right.
around us.
Right.
So from health point of view, three things: uh,
Uh-huh.
place of workout,
Right.
right? What kind of workout place do you choose? Is it gym or a
Mm.
studio or a park or home
Mm.
or whatever, right?
Mm.
Do you
Mm.
relate to that environment? Now, I know
Nice.
people
Mm.
who can't work out without a gym.
Right.
That I need to go to gym and work out, and that's
Mm.
absolutely fine because they
Mm.
at least know what works for them.
Correct.
I myself have, I think about 6 months. It's been 6 months. I've stopped working out at gym. I work out at park.
Mm.
That works for me, right?
Right.
Or there are times I work out at home, but I have a
Mm.
place and things which
Correct.
make me work out effectively at home as well. So, place of workout. Now,
Mm.
also there are ways you got to choose the place of workout like gym, right?
Mm.
All the gyms have vibe, right? If you go to a
Mm.
place, you will get the vibe. What kind of
Mm.
people work out over
Mm.
here? And you need to like that vibe. Okay, there is
Mm.
energy in everything, right? We say everything is energy and energy is everything. So you got to be in the
Wow.
place which you really think works for you. That helps you,
Nice.
one, really get
Mm.
effective use of your time and energy, get
Mm.
better result, and you will
Mm.
want to go and do it again and again. You like that place,
Correct.
so you want to do it again
Mm.
and again. So
Mm.
that's about the first place, which is gym, or the place of
Mm.
workout, whatever you want to,
Mm.
you know, have that. It could be park, home, gym,
Mm.
anywhere.
Mm.
It could also be, playing a sport. You play badminton or
Mm.
tennis or whatever. So whatever
Mm.
works for you. So that's
Mm.
the first part. The
Mm.
second is your kitchen, okay,
Right.
and your
Mm.
refrigerator.
Mm.
So Dr. John Berardi, who is a
Mm.
co-founder of Precision Nutrition, he has something called
Mm.
Berardi's first law. It says
Mm.
if you have a food item in your
Mm.
house, either you, someone you love, or
Mm.
someone you marginally tolerate will end
Huh.
up eating it. Okay.
Wow. Huh.
So now, if you have things which are in packets, which are chocolates and cookies and cakes and everything that is so much sacred
Right. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you end up eating that. And
Correct.
then if you have fruits and vegetables and whole grain stuff and homemade stuff and all
Mm.
these things, you end up eating
Mm.
that. So it's
Right.
literally you open your fridge, and this is very, very simple. We have been there,
Mm.
done that thousands of times. You open your fridge and you see what is there. You see a
Mm.
big dairy milk fruit and nut bar over there, and you're
Correct.
hungry.
Yeah.
It's 5
Yeah.
p.m. in the evening. You just
Mm.
pick one, and then you
Correct.
end up eating the
The full
full
thing. Yeah.
bar. So
Yeah. Yeah.
like first thing is first not have it, or if you
Mm.
have it, like I have kids
Mm.
at home, so I will have chocolates and
Correct.
cakes and pastries and all.
Correct.
But then make it difficult to reach out to, for
Mm.
yourself at least, if not
Mm.
for others.
Mm.
And second,
Mm.
replace your Awen, can you hear me? Can you
Yeah,
see
I
me?
can hear you. I see your DP.
Okay, the video doesn't seem to be up yet.
Unusually choppy today. Yeah, you're in.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
So yeah, that's the part that we talked about,
Mm.
kitchen and fridge. The things that you keep which are
Mm.
accessible to you. are the
Mm.
things which you end up eating.
Awesome.
And the third thing is sleep environment, the place where you
Mm.
go and sleep, right?
Mm.
Simple things are that place being, clean and hygienic, being
Mm.
cool, being dark, being quiet. So simple
Mm.
things. Now we can actually have a longer thing about all of these things, but this is in essence, you got to take care of the environment
Mm.
that you are in and achieve your
Awesome. Mm. Amazing. That's these are things which, again, like I keep stressing on it, it's meant to be simple, but when it's followed, that really is what's going to help you, the solopreneur listening to this, watching this,
yeah.
uh, make those micro shifts. And literally, when you practice this over a period of time, you will find that you actually are able to feel better, look better, and even think better. So, on that note, we are now going to wait while Dhaval joins us again.
Darwaja.
Are you in?